Ronell Nolan, Health Agents for America. I remember a year before the ACA was passed that we walked into Congressman Bustani's office and he said, "So you are the people that are going to lose your jobs." And I said, "Over my dead body." And those that know me and get emails from me every day, sometimes twice a day, you know I've dedicated my life to giving you what you need to succeed. A year later, we were in Washington and HHS spoke. They said, "We're going to create an entity called Navigators. We're going to create this entity because agents will not talk to the poor, will not go to rural areas, and do not speak foreign languages." I'm very happy to say that half the agents this open enrollment enrolled the Vietnamese fishing villages throughout Louisiana. So agents and brokers, we do all those things. Navigators were created, and Bruce knows that I have tried to work with him and tried to partner with him, and we're going to continue to do everything that we can. But bottom line, agents and brokers, you are the boots on the ground. You are the experts, and don't forget that. Regardless what's happened, what you hear from the federal government, what you hear on TV, what you hear through the media, you are still the experts. You can still take your industry back. But you've got to be smart, you've got to learn what you need to learn, and you've got to get involved. So preparation. Anything that you're going to be successful in, you're going to have to prepare. This year, you're going to have to get prepared for next year's open enrollment. CMS hasn't released what exactly we're going to have to do yet, but we will get ready. As Hetty said, a lot of people are getting certified with certified healthcare reform specialists. It's probably one of the hardest tests that I ever took. You learn a lot. You become the expert. You learn a lot more than the person that's next to you that doesn't know. It's important that when you take your CMS certification, that you print your certificates. I'm talking to a lot of agents that are saying, "I can't get my commissions," and it's because they haven't sent their certificates to insurance companies. So as soon as you finish your CMS certification this year, forward them on to the insurance company so they'll be able to pay you. Important for agents to present all options. We can't just show one insurance company, and because then people that think that we're bad, we will be bad. We're not. It is our job to show every insurance company. And if you do not have a contract with every insurance company, there are group brokerages out there that will happily help you with that. And I can give you some direction. But as Hetty also said, continue to learn. And you know that if you're a HAFA agent or you're on my mailing list, things happen every day. I'm reading things every day. It's changing every day. Something new has been discovered or decided. So in order for us to be the experts for our clients, we need to know what's going on. And sometimes you don't have all day to read everything I send because I know it's a lot. But you know, put it in a file, know that you have it, and know where you can go back to it should you need it. And continue to bring value, continue to learn, continue to strive to be the best that you can be. So tools for your tool chest. I tell my HAFA members that we're going to give you every tool we can to make sure you have a toolbox full of success. Because you might look different, smell different, get paid a lot less, but this is an opportunity and you can actually succeed with the ACA. I have agents that increase their income per month by $10,000, $20,000, $30,000. It can be done. If you know how to do it, and if you play smart, you can do it. So providing education to your clients, maybe you want to create a newsletter. Maybe you want to have meetings with them. Important to ask them to speak to their employees. Because remember, there's employees watching the TV, they hear about the new marketplace, they're not sure if they can get a subsidy, and they could actually maybe go out and get a subsidy and they're not supposed to. So ask to speak to their employees as a service. And then be careful of fraud. And this is one thing that I want to be, I kind of want to put a service announcement out there. There have been some people that I have helped recently that were trying to help themselves. They decided they weren't going to use a navigator, they weren't going to use an agent. They went on healthcare.gov, their phone started immediately ringing, and someone on the other line sold them some insurance policy. Some asked for their credit card numbers, their checking accounts, and wouldn't give them the benefits until that happened. I have about 4 or 5 cases right now that's happened in Louisiana. One that we share with the commissioner, that we're not even sure if this company is licensed in Louisiana. So if that's happened to anybody, please get that information to me, because I'd like to get that to the Attorney General and to Commissioner Donlin. And I meant to say in the very beginning that kudos to Commissioner Donlin, who has been a rock star for agents and the consumers of Louisiana. Round of applause, please, for him. So strategic partnerships, that's important going forward. Working with your church, making sure you have a CPA on your team. Attorneys are important. Corey Harvey has been a great help, an attorney, Deputy Commissioner of Health. Working with other agents, working with legislators. And then there's some question marks, because there's some strategic partnerships that I'm going to roll out later in the year that I'm working on that's going to help agents significantly help the consumers of Louisiana. And again, we're going to continue to try to work with CMS. Work with navigators. I'm working with Washington right now to set up a meeting with CMS, HHS, IRS, and try to find out how navigators and agents can work together. From what Bruce has said in the past is that CMS has given them direction not to work with us. To me, that's not a good answer. It's going to take a village to enroll all the people in Louisiana and the United States, so we've got to figure out a way to have a partnership. So it's about survival. It's not about whether you're a Democrat or whether you're a Republican. You're going to have to take the politics out of this. This is about agent survival. And if we don't do something now, the federal government is going to take your jobs. It's just, that's the way it is. I was told by an attorney in D.C. that when you pass legislations, they're winners and they're losers. And either, Ronell, y'all are a loser, or they don't understand what you do. I'm going to say they don't understand what we do. We're going to bring that to Washington and make sure they understand what we do. So I have so many agents say, show me the money. Ronell, you can't make any money from this. There's no money to be made. It was a headache. The system didn't work. You got cut off. It was just a mess. I'm hoping they're going to have those things fixed. But we're going to have an agent summit in New Orleans, October 9th and 10th. We're going to have a seminar, and I'm going to show you how to make money. And I'm going to prove to you that you can be a success with the ACA. Again, take back your industry, your decision. You're going to, like I said, you're going to act different, look different, get paid less, but think outside your box. Maybe you sell different things. Maybe you partner with an agent. Maybe you bring in a temp person that helps you during the enrollment process. There's a lot of things that we can do for that short period of time for open enrollment. So basically, the question I want to ask you is, are you prepared and do you want to survive? It's not really complicated. It's yes or no. And what's it going to take? I'm going to show you how to make the money. And the most important thing, if we can go back one, can you go back one for me? Is that agents are free. The commission's in the premium. It doesn't cost anything to use an expert. And half agents are listed on our website by city, by state. We're now in Pennsylvania, California, Texas, and Florida. New York City is ready to sign on, and I have a conference call with them tomorrow. So we're growing, and it's getting bigger. And that's my information. Be happy to help you. We have a booth, so stop by and visit with me, and I know together we can do this. Thank you.
I don't have a PowerPoint, so I don't have to get used to this clicker to see which way is forward and back. Before I start, I would like to say that I get all of Ronell's emails, and she's right, it is a lot. And, but I will say this, I get them and I look at them, and I read her notes that she includes, and I hear her speak, and there's no doubt that she has a burning passion for what she does. And I've got to say, Ronell, thanks for what you do as far as the aging population. You heard Heavy say that back in August of 2010, the ACA was born, and then Brian went on to say that in August of 2013, the Navigator grants were issued. up until August 15th of 2013, even though we are aware that a lot of requests for navigation or navigator grants were sent in, we had no idea who the applicants were, and not until the day that they were notified were we notified about that as well. In the sessions leading up to that announcement of who the grantees were, there was a legislative session, and during that session there was an attempt to pass a navigator bill that Rennell actually got together, and unfortunately it didn't make it through that particular session. Rather, what we got was authority to promulgate a regulation dealing with the regulatory department's regulation or authority over navigators. That regulation is Regulation 101, and it is in place today. And in preparation for this particular legislative session, Commissioner Donlin was adamant that we try once again to pass a navigator regulation, and as Corey mentioned, it appears that unless something goes terribly wrong today, it is going to pass. I know that I looked at the legislative website before coming here, and it's on the agenda for today's reading in the Senate, and if I'm not misunderstanding, passage is going to pass the bill itself. One of the hallmarks of the bill 764 is a fingerprint and background, was a fingerprint requirement and a background questionnaire that's very similar to what the producers have to fill out and submit in order to be licensed. I know a lot of information has been seen in the news over the past several months about navigators in other states that have had problems. I think Kathleen Sebelius even acknowledged that in the rush to get this thing passed and through, there was little attention paid to background of navigators, and it was entirely possible that the Navigator Society could include convicted felons. So we hope to root that out, and I'm going to touch on that again here in just a second. In follow-up to that, though, I got notice just the other day that there was a decision rendered in Missouri out of Kansas City where a federal judge issued a preliminary injunction against the enforcement of the newly passed Missouri state law, saying that it obstructed the federal purpose of the ACA. The limitations that Missouri placed on navigators obstructed the federal purpose of the ACA. So they're going to have to rework their statute. After looking at that, I compared Bill 764 to what limited information was included in the press release, and I don't see anything in our bill that is going to place us in that same class or jeopardy, and it appears that we are going to be okay. A couple days ago, HMS or HHS released one of their many releases. It was a minor one. It was only 439 pages, having to do with some revision to the navigator duties and among various other things. But both Hetty and Rennell touched on some of the overlap between navigator duties and producer duties, and I just want to touch on a few of the things that are included in this particular release. It says, in addition to the existing requirement that navigators provide information and services in a fair, accurate, and impartial manner, the duties of a navigator include providing information that assists consumers with submitting the eligibility application, clarifying the distinctions among health care coverage options, and helping consumers make informed decisions during the health coverage selection process. Those are also extended to the certified application counselors. And it goes on to say that they may provide information that includes, but not limited to, plan features such as deductibles, coinsurance and copayments, coverage limitations or exclusions, identifying plans for which an eligible consumer may receive financial assistance, cost sharing and cost-sharing assistance, and information about whether a particular provider or hospital is included within a plan's network. Other than that, they can't do it. I'm not sure what there is left, though. Also, part of what they can do, well, they're prohibited from making a specific plan recommendation. But you heard Brian say earlier, well, let me say this. Currently, we require that navigator entities and navigators themselves register with us. That's part of the Regulation 101 requirements. As Brian said, we have 4 navigator entities, and looking on our website yesterday, I see that we have 46 individuals registered as navigators, split between the various navigator entities. I think Brian's probably has, what, you're 17, 18 in there somewhere? And then, you know, the others, some of the smaller ones have 2 or 3, and there's an operation out of New Orleans that may have 17 as well. And I will say that I've worked with Brian from day one. After the notifications came out of who the grantees were, Brian and I got in contact with each other and have had a good working relationship since then, and it's been a pleasure working with him. I haven't been made aware of any navigator-related issues in the state of Louisiana, other than in the very early stages, and I think those have been resolved. And as I said, the bill that we have pending is going to require fingerprints and background questionnaires. I'm going to be surprised if, after talking to Brian and talking about the process that they went through to vet their applicants, if there's going to be any adverse information revealed. I think Louisiana is very well set in that situation. One of the things that navigators can't do is, and throughout the ACA it says this, they can't refer people to a specific producer. And you heard Brian say that once they get into the shops, they're going to refer people to producers, and that's good. They can make a generic recommendation. And one of the things that I did after we started doing this, Rennell talked about the HHS test certification process. I did that going into it just so I would have an idea of what you were engaged in, what you would have to endure in order to be licensed for the HHS program. After doing that, I contacted HHS and asked them, since they were getting all the names submitted to them, if they could give us a list of all the Louisiana producers who are HHS certified. And they said they would look into it. They later came back and said they could, but they weren't. And then they said that that they couldn't because the information that was provided to them was private information and was not information they could give. I assured them that the producer information that I'm looking for, they want out there, they want me to have, but they relented, but did not relent. But anyway, so what we did at the Department of Insurance was to modify our industry access portal and allowed individuals who went on the CMS Learning website and got credentialed to go into our industry access portal and to push a button saying, I am HHS certified. Unfortunately, I went on our website today before coming over here and found a couple of bits of information. We currently have 17,539 resident health producers in the state of Louisiana. Rennell, your people can go up. You can increase your size. But after looking at the website, of those 17,000 plus, only 343 have gone onto our website and hit the HHS certification button, which to me presents an issue because, as Brian said, in the future they're going to be making recommendations to producers. It has to be a generic recommendation. They can't recommend anybody by name. This program that we have on our site allows people to search by zip code, name, city, area, You know, so if you want to have a potential increase in business, I would suggest that you go to our website and push that button. All right, well, that's about it for me. So, thank you.